The next thing I'm going to do is take the kick panels off to get to the number 2 and 5 or 2 and 6 body mounts. I had to take 4 screws off of this. There was a longer one in the front, the other 3 are the shorter ones. This comes off relatively easy, and then the kick panel is really not even bolted in. It's just held in by that thing. So I've got some speakers in here that I'm going to have to remove before I can see where the body mounts are, because they should be in right behind these speakers. So this looks like 4 little screws, and I'll be able to access my body mounts. Okay, the speaker's out. It's a Polk Audio GXR 4x6 speaker, just in case anybody would be interested in knowing what will fit in that area there. I am right now marking the connector that is the positive with a red pen, so that when I stick it back together I'll know that that goes on the plus terminal. And I'm into the birdcage, and that looks pretty good to me. There's a little bit of rust debris down there around the body mount bolt itself, but by and large, again, I'm very happy with the condition of this. I think once I clean that up a little bit and put some rust preventer on it, I think she'll be good for another 30 years. Here's a help for putting the body back on the frame. There are plugs in the doorstep here, and there's a hole below them. That hole, at least on the back one, went all the way through the frame, and you can put maybe a piece of 1/2-inch rebar in there to line up the body as you drop it. Front one looks like it just goes into the frame. Maybe not even into it. We'll have to check that out later. See if it can be used as an aid in aligning it, but the back one definitely can. Another thing that I discovered after the fact, in talking about these holes that are for aligning the body, and I was able to get the I was actually using an extension from a ratchet, from a socket set. I was able to get it through here, but not up front. That's on the passenger side. On the driver's side, the back side will not go through, however the front side does. So those are the 2 points that you can line up the body with as you are dropping it back down. Okay, the kick panel has an R embossed into it for right, and I wrote right on the threshold so that when I go to put these back on, I'll know which side is which. Unlike the other side where these screws came out easily, a couple on this side are proving difficult to get out. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my Phillips screwdriver, a couple sharp raps with the hammer, and that freed it up. So rather than having a stripped screw that I'd have to drill out, I was able to make quicker work of it than if I had tried to force it out with just the screwdriver. Another helpful hint that might help you out along the way. Wasn't that easy a thing to do, but I was able to take my trusty can of WB Blaster and with the flexible spout, and I was able to get it up in this area. If I can find it again, to the bottom of the cage nut. I'm not going to be able to get a good picture of it with this. It's right above that clip. I can't get a good picture of it, but you can see the blaster running down from where I put it on. There it is up in that area there. Hard to get to, but hopefully I got enough on it to help get that nut out. While I'm waiting for the blaster to work on the 2 and 6 mounts, I'm going to start addressing the 1 and 5 mounts. There's a little panel here that I'm going to take off that's in back of the wheel well. And by taking it off, I'll be able to get a wrench on top of the mount and a socket on the bottom of the mount so that I can get that off. That one's not in a cage nut like the 2, 3, 6, and 7 are. So that panel's off. My wrench that I had up there trying to get to the top of the mount came down with it. And now I can actually get the wrench on the top of the mount. It's a 5/8. That was a half that I used to take off that little cover with. Having trouble finding it here. I think maybe an extension would be a good idea. Well, there was a good reason why I couldn't get that wrench on that bolt. As you can see, it's broken off. I had to use an impact wrench on it, couldn't get it to come. But the bolt itself, the nut was an 11/16, and the top of the bolt was a 5/8. I had a 5/8 ratchet there, so to take this apart, you're going to need a 5/8 on the top and an 11/16 for the nut. The passenger side was missing these two bolts that would be under the rocker panel. So I'm going to have to find those and get them off. It looks like these are not 1/2 inch, it looks like they're 9/16, so I'm off to get a different socket. Turns out they are 1/2 inch. They were just coated with paint, so I had to knock the paint off to get the 1/2 inch socket on. Don't think that one's actually turning with the air ratchet. I'm going to have to resort to a different method. Well, my trusty loosen tighten method works for this as well. On this side, I decided that it's going to be easier for me to remove this vapor canister than it is going to be to work around it. There are 3 1/2 inch bolts holding it in up here, and then there are a couple of hoses that need to be taken off at the top. Taking note that the one closer to the firewall appears to have a yellowish stripe on it. The other one that's closer to the front of the car does not. So I'm going to get that out of my way before I address the front mount on this side. Okay, the vapor canister is down. There are some clips on it that hold the hose on. Just get a pair of pliers around them, squeeze them, push them back off of the nipple on the canister, and be able to take the hoses off. I think I'm going to have to go get a needle nose pair of pliers for that one because they've got it on crooked. I can't get those pliers in there. Okay, I was able to move those around with the needle nose pliers. So now I can get these on and just push it back, grab the hose, twist and pull, and it should be able to come off shortly. Wonder where that came from at the top. Well, have to look, but now that's off. There's a clean shot up to the body mount. We can get a wrench on one side and a impact wrench on the other. And that should be off shortly. Now this is the hose that fell off. As you can see, the side that has the clamp clearly has a mark from the hose clamp there where it was attached to the vapor canister. The other end of it looks like it wasn't attached to anything because there are no marks from any kind of a hose clamp being on that. So, and if I look inside, it also looks like it wasn't put on any kind of nipple. So I'm thinking that was just a vent and that it just hung down. Hopefully one of my older videos will have a shot of that and I can see where it was. Okay, the impact wrench actually wouldn't break that one. I had to resort to a breaker bar, but I finally broke it now. It's off, and what I'm going to do now is there's a ground wire here that needs to be taken off. Otherwise we'll rip it apart when we take it off of the body. So take that off and get it out of the way for taking the body off of the car. Okay, it's loose. I went back over to the passenger side of the car, and laying on the ramp lift there's a piece of a wire. Looks to be an orange wire. From the looks of the connector, it hasn't been plugged into anything in a long time, so maybe somebody just took the thing out and dropped it in there, and it's really not connected to anything, but we'll have to look for that when we put it back together. Okay, the 2 and 6 mounts came out totally without an incident. They were very easy. And so now the body's just sitting there. All the mounts are off. Now we've got to go find the dozens of things that could connect between the body and the frame so that we don't tear any of them off when we lift the body off the frame.